This is the Heljan Gresley 02 in 00 scale. I have done a previous film where I've gone through all the quality control work, and you can watch that. I've spent around 2 hours working on each of these models. Now that's more of a passion project, it's not a great business decision. However, I do actually think it's a bit of a diamond in the rough. Now, I am biased, I am running a shop, but I'm also personally interested in the loco, as I used to want to build a massive LNER layout, and this would really have suited my plans. It's 30 years too late, but nevertheless. So here is the relevant book that would serve as reference. What a good looking machine. It is vaguely ironic that the reference photo shows all of the valve gear polished up. It was something the model was massively criticised for when it first came out, and Heljan did respond by blackening the valve gear. Let's be honest, more realistic for most locos in operation. But back in 1924, when that livery was applied, would have been quite nice. Full disclosure, I did buy the book because of the P1s and the P2s. Isn't that a magnificent machine? And of course the P2s everyone knows. Right, let's get off this nostalgic trip. So, it is actually really good looking, and I thought it's sort of prepared for sound. Let's have a go. I had an ESU Lock Sound 5 21 pin. I have loaded it up with the closest sound profile I could find. It is a 3-cylinder Gresley loco. It is the Southwest Digital A3, let's be honest. However, none of these locos are preserved, available for recording. So it's the best we've got, and I think it came out quite reasonably. About 21 functions, usual operating sounds. One thing I did say in my previous film is that digital really helps with this mechanism. They are powerful mechanisms, they run really smoothly at medium to high speeds. The criticism was that they're a little lumpy at slow speed, and that's because the flywheel doesn't really cut in. The flywheel effect only really happening at medium speed and higher. Digital applies what they call a digital flywheel. So it's using the back EMF of the decoder to keep the rotation smooth. All very technical and a bit boring, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But it really does affect these locos nicely. There's a coasting beat, let me have a look, I think it's on function 10. And I forgot. Or just a reduced beat actually. While we're here, we'll look at some of the modifications I made in the previous video. Sorted out the blemish on the water dome. The cab is now fixed to the chassis where it was loose before. Straightened up the valance there. Foot plate, whatever you want to call it. sorted out some cosmetic issues with the chimney. I painted the front handrail because it was a high silver versus the silver banding and it just looked odd. I have infilled behind the buffers with a slightly darker colour so it doesn't look so extreme. They are still sprung, and applied a polished steel effect to the cylinder cover there. Lubricated the slide bars and the crank pins as well. And various other things, just made it easier to fit the NEM coupler at the back. And on this one I've fitted the cosmetic hook on the front. I have glued it up out of the way because it will stop the pony truck from swinging. So just be careful if you fit yours, you'll find that the loco may derail. Does have some really nice printed cab detail in there as well. I could put some crew figures in this one. I did actually put a rudimentary full plate in this version. I just had a play around. I was a little concerned, but it's fine clearing the tender. Didn't want to go all the way across and cause derailments. So there are a few other sound effects. Firebox. Water filling. Yeah, there's quite a few things going on. Oh, that's the volume control. So function 16 cycles through different volumes. And a flange scale there. Okay, so I have set up some slightly less than radius 2 curves here. The instructions say minimum radius 438. These are 419 Roco curves. I have actually tested them on 360mm radius and they do work, but I think in the spirit of what the instructions say, let's do it on this. It is quite a long wheelbase. Oddly enough, the Pacifics are shorter. These are the main 6 drivers. And it's fine on this. The digital also helps with load regulation, so as the flanges dig in, the decoder will put more power to the motor to compensate for the extra pressure. A bit more drag on the wheels. I have actually driven them through faster. I'm a little bit limited with the sound profile because it has to accelerate. Also, I need to stop it before it falls off the end. Right, so I'm going to call this the NEM standard hump test. The reason for doing this is much better explained in my previous film about the Heljan 02s. Basically just checking the flexibility of this model. And just checking adhesion as well. There we are, I think we're successful on that. Not particularly scientific, but the previous film explains the reason. So this is by far and away my favourite livery for this loco. It had provision for sound, so I thought why not. I appreciate that there aren't recordings of the real loco, so it is an approximation. I thought it came out quite well. It's one of the reasons I film these locos. People have different opinions. I also wanted to make a farewell to Heljan. Obviously the independent retail trade has been closed out of Heljan now, and I suspect this is a trend that is going to increase as manufacturers scrabble. So yeah, make my farewells while I can.